So here's a little reflection on how these past 6 months have gone now. It's been 6 months I've been on the road. Look where I am at the moment. It's unbelievable. Hope you can see that. This is my view from my window in Bali right now. So I guess let's start with that, right? This gratitude of how I get to just look out this window and I'm in the mountains and I'm not paying that much for this place and it's amazing and they're so friendly. It's just a blessing. I'm so grateful to myself, really, for actually taking the actions and going for this. You know, I set out on this mission to go around Asia, and now I'm actually at the tail end of it, so I can have a lot of reflections. Because it's like, what was that? Did I actually do those things like go to Japan and Korea and Taiwan and all these places, India? It's, it's like a dream. And you know what? I don't want to paint everything so amazing and make myself sound so good either. I want to sound so impressive. I want to tell you also, there's been challenges, so many challenges. And I've been working with my business coach, and it's hard for me to show up to sessions saying there's not been that much progress sometimes. And you know what? I had to say that because I've been moving so much and my mind's been all over the place. I've been stimulated and getting excited about this and getting new ideas and letting go parts of myself and awakening parts of myself. So actually doing actions towards growth is slowed down hugely. And I was watching someone's YouTube video and they said, you know what? Like they were talking about the same thing when they traveled, it has an impact, right? And I've had to actually allow myself to feel that. Past version of me, no travel, no going anywhere really, no actually spending any time apart from inner work and working on my mission. Here, my mission actually is to travel and explore and learn more about life, right? I'm still adding to that mission. That's the other thing I realized, right? Me going to places, I've solidified my understanding of Zen. I've solidified my understanding of so many things. Of how does food impact us? I've learned that through having to change countries and change foods so often, changing environments, mountains to beaches, hot to cold. I've learned the impact of different things like food and thoughts and external stimuli massively during this trip, right? So it's like, on the one hand, I haven't taken much action, it seems like, right? And on the other hand, I've been learning through life. I've been solidifying my wisdom and the teachings I'm giving people now are 100% more potent. I've become more potent, actually. I've become more potent in the masculine fire. Look, these biceps here, I always let go of them. And I was like, I don't need biceps. And I know I don't need the external form of them, but now the inner biceps are strengthened, right? That's really what they represent to me. That's what it always represented to me. Training, bodybuilding, lifting, I really didn't care about how it looked. What it gave me, and I think what it gives everyone is like, whoa, look what I built. Look how strong I am. Feeling of inner strength, right? So a lot of that's happened on this trip. Within all of that, challenges and who the hell am I? Existential crises, so many of them, non-stop existential crisis, right? And I know a lot of people that talk to me, they have this as well. Maybe you listening to this, there's probably a reason why you're listening to this. You might be relating to me. There's probably a lot of things you can relate to why you're watching my videos. There's some connection, right? So existential crisis, pretty much every few weeks it was happening. And as time's passed, it's become, um, it's changed. And you know what's changed? What's changed is I'm actually slowing down and getting things done now. I've got to this place where I can get things done if I want to, or I cannot. But I know if I'm not living on purpose, if I'm not doing actions that are purposeful, then it doesn't matter if I'm at a waterfall or a beautiful place. it doesn't matter, right? The outer doesn't matter if I'm not living in my dharma, in my purpose. I'm not doing things that count, right? And I'm not in my center and I'm not unleashing stuff out of me. I don't need pleasure and external stimuli. That doesn't give me anything. I've realized that on my trip. I've been at waterfalls sometimes. Let me drive here, let me go here. And if I haven't done any work for the day, anything purposeful, anything self-expressive, then me sending myself on a self-serving waterfall, I don't get stimulated. And a girl said this to me when I met her. She's also a traveler. She said, "You're really hard on yourself, Raj. You're really hard. You're not even allowing yourself to enjoy." And then at first I was like, "Yeah, okay, that's true. Maybe I should be kinder to myself. Yeah, I should be kinder. Let's do the kindness work. Let's do all the heart healing work. Let's be soft and let's be so nice to myself." And yes, that is important because too much rigidity, too much beating myself up is not good. I know that. But at the same time, here's the fire version of this, which many people don't talk about, right? Especially in a softening world that we're in these days. Soft, soft, soft. Let's be soft about everything. There's the other part of this is, hey, you haven't done the work. So it's true that you don't feel like enjoying a waterfall. You don't feel like enjoying a beach because you haven't done the things that are useful. You haven't unleashed what really wants to come out of you. So you deserve to feel bad. And I'm pointing my finger at myself, right? But I'm also pointing it at you because I hope you feel that one. And you know why I want you to feel that one? Not to shame or make anyone feel pain, but to realize that that feeling is emerging out of us to tell us, hey, do something purposeful, make the most out of your life, create something, work on a project. Doesn't even have to be out of project. Work on a project within yourself if you want. And then you'll feel better. Then you can go in the waterfall. Then you can go do everything you want. You deserve it. You've earned it. Now going and hey, let me get a massage. I've kept feeling this, right? I'll tell you an example. Going to a massage, I felt bad getting a massage. I couldn't even relax in the massage. You know why? Because of the same thing. I hadn't I hadn't moved forward in my life. Hadn't done anything productive in my day. And again, people might say, oh, you know what, you're being so harsh on yourself. No, every day doesn't have to be productive. You can have days off. And that's true. So what I've also learned is I can consciously create days where I don't speak to anyone. I don't have to help anyone. I don't have to create anything. I can. But I just realize about myself, I have to do a little bit. A little bit. I have to do something which is growing me, helping me expand, helping others expand. I have to do a little bit. My day, my life is not alive if I'm not. We talk about peace. Peace isn't meditating. Meditation allows for that state of peace. But for me, peace is also expressing one's will and power in the world, right? It's doing something useful. So that's been a big learning. It's there's components to power. Power centers the book, right? That's why the book's there. The book has 7 components to power. Fire in our stomach, speaking our voice, letting go as well. Like I said, we have to let go sometimes. All of it at once, all of it together, unified. That to me is power, and power is peace. Power creates peace. Peace creates power, both together. Power is the life force energy that's in all things. There has to be a power for these trees to grow so strong, right? And there has to be a peace, a stillness within, right? So power in the context of this video is, hey, let's go and do something with our lives. I will not live a life where I'm a little trained monkey who sits around in mediocrity and just accepts that's what life is. And again, it doesn't mean that outside you can have a boring job as long as you're doing something that expresses you, right? You're doing something creative. You're working on something. Then the job won't seem as boring. I bet you that. Because your attention's not on that. Your attention's on something else. That's what I've learned. If I'm writing my book, I feel lit up. I'm excited. I'm working on something, you know? Then I can go to a boring job if I wanted to. Then I can go to a boring activity. I probably won't choose to do those things, but maybe it happens, right? So there's parts to this. That's the biggest thing I've learned. And the other thing I've learned on my travels to really take care of myself. I'm a maniac with routines and health. I carry a blender around. I don't know where it is. It's somewhere here. And I carry a blender around with me and I blend smoothies. I'm getting my fruit and veg every day, right? And again, I don't say this to brag. I don't say this to so you feel bad because you're not doing that. If you feel that, okay, fine, fair enough. You might feel bad. And like I said earlier, you probably should, because you probably should be eating more of these fruits and veg, right? And you know it. You know it. You know it's going to feel good. But anyway, what I was saying on that before that little bit was I will make sure that I'm healthy. I'm eating well, I'm exercising, yoga every day, doesn't matter where I am. Yoga every day, some breath work. And yoga doesn't mean, hey, you go and bend yourself above your head. I'm not flexible. Yoga doesn't require flexibility. And imagine trying to flex this around my head. It doesn't work. This thing doesn't really stretch that much. So yoga is about unifying oneself through the body, using the body and sharpening and focusing the mind so we can access something deeper within. We can activate that life force, the prana, the power centers. And all that really means is we become centered and powerful and calm at the same time as an active practice, not as a thought, not as like, oh yeah, let me say this to myself many times. It has to be an embodied feeling, a scientific twisting of a towel. So we purify and get rid of the stuff that is not required every day, every day. And I've realized during these travels how important that is. Meeting people, getting stimulated by all sorts. I have to wring out the towel. Let me get a towel if I haven't got one, but if I would wring it out right now. Squeeze. What's all this coming out of there? Then have a fresh towel, right? What's better than a fresh towel? I've used a towel that's 3 days old sometimes, and it doesn't feel good. Fresh towel is so much better, right? So I've learned that I need a fresh towel, and every day I've had to do that. And the funny thing is, I did this before, so I'm not saying this like this is a big deal. That hasn't changed. But I realized the importance of it. I realized that this is required, especially if I'm going to go out and ride on a motorbike for 2 hours. I need to be fresh, right? And the doctors will say, get 8 hours of sleep. Health people will talk about, they'll put this sleep thing on a pedestal. Sleep is not to be put on a pedestal. Yes, is very important. I'm not an idiot. Sleep is extremely important, but imagine the quality of sleep. If if we are in a meditated state, that sleep is undisturbed. It's not like, oh my God, craziness going all over the place, tension, throwing our body into the bed in a tense state. It will take that sleep to a different um, experience versus a calmer version that goes and rests, right? Goes and actually rests. So that's another thing I've realized is important is I'm doing a lot of activities. I'm traveling around. I'm getting flights and buses and trains, and I've done insane things, and it's taken a lot of toll on me. That's why I couldn't do some of these actions for my work and my business. Because I was exhausted. I was exhausted, and I became like an athlete, right? A traveling athlete. I had to find pockets of space where I could just close my eyes, meditate. I can presence myself. I can breathe. I had to continuously do that just to move through this travel, right? So I realized the importance of that as well, my state, and how does that affect my goals? So many goals haven't happened. I'll be honest with you. So many goals, so many things I intended and ways of operating haven't happened. because I've, number one, deprioritized them because I've been doing so much. Number two, I've realized what's more important sometimes, which is actually me being in the experience rather than do. Um, but you know what? I've realized that time and energy are currencies. Even more. I knew this before, right? And but I've realized it now through active practice, through through using all of my time and energy. I don't think I waste any time and energy anymore. Even recording this video is like, okay, I'm gonna record this video and I'm gonna go to its waterfalls, I'm gonna do this. All of that takes focus, right? I'm gonna learn this, I'm gonna coach someone. All of that is time and energy spent. So I've realized to become a master at this thing like an athlete is so important. What else? What else? And I'll slow down because I'm sure you're going to get something from this. I hope. Why else am I spilling this out in video? Because I'm hoping it will help someone out there to get some ideas, right? Even if you're not traveling. No, the whole point of this isn't to show me and hey, watch Raj and Raj is traveling, so let's listen to his traveling stories and lessons. I want to see how this affects your inner traveling life, right? Just feel into that for yourself. And I'm grabbing my stomach there. Feel into that in your stomach. How does your travel through life, whatever you're doing, if you're a mom, you're a hardworking professional, you're an entrepreneur, how is any of these things that I mentioned about time expenditure, learning, getting things done, not getting things done, as I mentioned, outer environment, how does this affect you, right? Um, yeah, it's been a ride, to be honest. It's been an amazing ride. And I realized one thing about myself, which I started to judge for a while. I started to judge this thing, which is I really value making the most out of every day and having a day where I go to bed and say, wow, this is what I did today. This was productive in this way. And again, it's like productive doesn't mean a result. Productive just means I did things for a purpose, purposeful action, right? Why did I do that? And here's the other thing I've learned through that. I've done so many non-purposeful actions during this trip. I've listened to my head, right? My head says, go here, do this, or this is a good plan. And so many times I've known in my gut has been like, no. What about this? This is a better plan. Listen to it. I haven't listened to it. I've ignored it. And then as soon as I did the thing that wasn't my purpose-driven action, I felt it. And it's like, right? Oh, that wasn't really it. I did this because it was safe or comfortable. I was seeking comfort. The body and mind and emotion seek the comfort, the soft, warm cloud. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. If it's intuitively led, if that's what's required in the moment, if that's what's going to be helpful, please take those actions. Please do it. I've done that for myself. I've taken the things that are required. But when it's driven by this slight edge of fear, right? Scarcity, I realize I'm capable of more than that. Capable of more than those scarce driven actions, comfort driven actions, you know? So when I have taken those intuitive, like, oh yeah, let's go do this. Even just speaking about it now, I know the feeling. I can see my eyes are lighting up. Oh yeah, let's go do this will be cool. Sometimes just doing it because it's cool. It's a story. It's a great story to go down. This is a story to tell. This will be fun. This will be exciting. This will be helpful for someone. Let me say this to them because I know it's going to help them. So many times I've said things to people because I know intuitively it has to be said. I can't. I sometimes will go like this and I'll say, you know what, something coming through for me. Say this to my clients. Can I interrupt you? Something's really, I can't, I have to say this. Every time I say it to them, it lands because it's coming through from a most powerful place. I'm not going to get into all these spiritual words right now, but you can choose what that is for you, right? I'll just call it intelligence because I like to keep things clean sometimes. We don't have to use spiritual words. There's a divine intelligence. All right, maybe that's a bit spiritual. It's a divine intelligence that comes through. I listen to that voice. Things are always exciting. Things always feel like the right decision, you know? And it doesn't matter if the right decision is a mess either. I just know I was in alignment with myself, right? The mess, the hassle, the energy and effort it takes. So many things I've done, they've taken so much energy and effort. Driving to this place I'm now, it was like a crazy 2 hour drive on a motorbike. And there was times where my mind was like, why the hell are you doing this? I knew I had to be here, right? And there's times I knew I had to go to Australia. I was only there for like 10 days. Takes a while to get there. But I knew in the moment I had to go. I don't care how much it costs. It's another thing I've learned in my travels. And maybe I'll make this the last one. This video is getting quite long. The other thing I've learned is I don't care what it costs. I don't care what it costs if it's worth it. And this is not just to do with travel, it's to do with food choices, it's to do with where I stay, what's the experience, it's to do with what I invest in. I've invested in a few things, and like some of those things have been really useful, some of those things haven't. So I realize I will happily pay people money. I don't care. I want to pay. If I get something valuable, I really want to pay. I really want to pay if I'm getting something valuable. But the reason we often don't is we think there's a risk, right? So what I've really become good at now is assessing that so-called risk, but instead of looking from the angle of risk view, which is, oh, what if the what fear again, like I mentioned earlier, right? Scarcity driven fear, 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 fear. Rather than looking at it and deciding on things from the fear view, which is not powerful, it's a scared little cocoon. Instead of me being that person, let me look at it from this opportunity view, right? What is this going to give me? Do I have confidence that this will? And confidence not from the head. There's a clear thing I want to say. Confidence not from the head, because confidence from the head is fear in disguise, in an ego's disguise. It seems so convincing. It's so intellectual. This reason, this because they're judging, did because that bit. It's not true. Confidence from the soul, from that inner calling, that real intelligence. That when I listen to that and I invest in things or I spend my time or my energy, just like I said earlier, right? Everything's great. I get what I want. I live what I want. I live fully expressed. And living fully expressed means listen to this, not this. Listen to this inside, this soul whisper inside. Listen to this intelligence. It's just intelligence, right? Let's take away the soul stuff even. Forget I said that. Listen to the real smarts, the real brain inside, and not this fear mongering brain. And then I win. I'm fully expressed. That's what fully expressed means to me. Listen and act. Listen and act. Listen and act. That's the other thing I've learned is sometimes I'll listen, but I won't act. Right? And I've caught myself. You're listening, but you're not acting, Raj. Listen and act. When I listen and act, inner world and outer world, I'm as peaceful as a monk. I'm as peaceful as a monk. And more peaceful even. I'm like a dancing monk, a fully expressed monk, right? So anyway, let's leave it as that. That's some of my sharings coming up for me right now. And let me know what you got from this if you listen to this whole thing. I would love to hear. This is what life force means to me. This is what power centers are. It's me learning about them constantly and acting on that life force inside, letting it emerge, right? It's emerging through that inner voice, that intelligence, but then it also has to emerge through the voice and the actions through the arms and the body. Got to take act. I got to move. Let's move. Let's let this life force move me. When the life force moves me, it's easy. There's no like struggle. Right? The mind struggles and the body might struggle. Yeah, the tensing part will struggle. That will happen. Just like when we exercise and there's resistance. I don't want to do this. I don't want to run. I don't want to push out any more reps. But look, we do it somehow. We have that capability to do it, to go and act beyond that resistance in the gym of life. Anyway, I'll leave it as that, guys. I could talk forever, like you know. Um, but let me know what you got from this. I'd love to hear from you. Signing out, Raj, Life Force. We'll see you, Mr. Power Centers. And that's what you are too. Remember that. See you later.